Are you talking about something that's very similar to Final Destination, Lexi? Because Final Destination is coming out. So maybe this would be up your adult world that's more focused away.
No, this is all for Rachel.
Final Destination. Six, everybody. We're talking about, going there. We're doing 6, almost 12 years since the 5th installment. The sixth one's coming out because Warner Brothers Discovery is like, why not? They were trying to do this back in 2019. A pandemic happened, as we know.
I was going to say,
shut it down.
Isn't this the one that they were bringing back the guy from the first film and he's been hiding in a bunker all this time?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm so here for this movie. 100%.
So COVID shut it down, though. COVID shut it down, and there was no word about it. But now with the whole rebranding and they're looking through all their IP, they're like, let's do that Final Destination, by the way. So Jeffrey Reddick, who was the original Destination creator and writer, he said that the 6th installment won't follow the film's usual formula this time. They'll be staying faithful to it, but it's going to be a whole entire different premise, which makes me go, why? I mean, we know what we get when we watch this, we know what we're looking for. We're looking for people that live through crazy things and they weren't supposed to, and then they die, because they were supposed to die.
The formula. You have to have the person who is like in the first one, he's on the airplane, he has the premonition that the plane's gonna explode, and then he freaks out and leaves the situation. And that has been the formula for every single film. You have to do that or it's not Final Destination, and then death chases everyone around. It's fantastic. It's simple, it's to the point, it scares the shit out of you. It's great.
That's all you need.
I love the idea of the kid from the first film surviving all this time and like being in a bunker and like
he's like crazy.
But that fucks with everything. That changes the whole that right there changes the entire premise and the timeline. So like, and what does that do?
Clear Rivers dies in part 3, so he's the only one left from his film. I know it's the stupidest name. I didn't name her.
What's this person's name?
Clear Rivers.
Clear Rivers.
I can't.
That's the girlfriend type character.
Rachel, you're excited about this, aren't you?
I am into Final Destination. And it hurts my feelings that it's been 12 years since the last one came out because I saw that in high school and now I feel old.
Oh, don't you love it?
But the whole series has just been so well done. I don't know a single person who's not terrified to drive behind logging trucks because of Final Destination. Like,
we literally talked about that in the last episode of Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think I've ever found myself behind a logging truck, so lucky me, I guess.
I'm a delivery driver.
You're literally in
roller
Washington
coasters
right now. Are you not driving?
I also live in Colorado. I live in LA, and I was just in Florida at a spring break desk. There's no logging trucks, like
or like with rebar on them, like
every day that I drive behind something that has shit on the back of the truck, carpets, tubes, any kind of like truck with tubes on it, and I drive behind it, and I'm like.
In LA, it's like trash or furniture piled up in the back of the car.
Or they've got so many different. They've gotten so creative with the way they kill people in those movies. And like, if you're getting rid of the formula, what the fuck do you have left?
I just want to make a point that
that's a good question.
The writer of the movie is going to be John Watts, who was the director of the newest Spider-Man series. So it's not being written by the creator; it's being written by John Watts. So maybe that accounts for a different take on it. But obviously, if the creator's into it, like, I'm going to have to trust that because he created it. So if he thinks that it follows the same formula in some way, shape, or form, then I'm going to have to agree with that. Because the first one was really fantastic. I mean, I feel like they slowly tapered off as they went on. But the first one was really, really spectacular and terrifying. So if he thinks that it is up to snuff with his idea and that it goes along with it, even though it's not the same exact formula, I'm going to trust him on that. And I can't wait to see
he also might just want the royalties from it because he's going to get a fat paycheck for them using the Final Destination name.
I don't think he will. I mean, he's going to be involved in it. He's going to be involved in it. He's just not rating it. You know what I mean? Like, he's still going to...
that gives me a little bit more faith. Oh my gosh, you put the roller coaster one with me? So rude. years. And this movie did not help that situation.
I just feel like it's gotta be true to the story. I mean, I love John Watts, so like that makes me excited about it, and it makes me look at a new take on it, and the fact that they're actually giving it the time of day now. Hopefully, it does well. Lexi, do you think this is gonna work today, or do you think they should have just left this back 12 years ago?
This one will work, especially with them bringing back the original kid. Because that kid hasn't been in
I don't know if they're doing
anything
that concept anymore.
Are they not? Okay, let me tell you, if they're not doing the concept that I was initially presented, I'm out. If they're doing what I was initially presented, then I'm in. But because I want to see that actor come back, I was very excited to hear that he was coming back. I was excited to hear all of that stuff. I loved what I was initially seeing. I straight forgot about that. Like I forgot all about that whole entire thing. I was super excited about
2019.
It.
A lot happened between then and now.
It was a good. It was one of those kind of things where it was a good idea in that it had been forgotten, been like 12 years, and then it was like, hey, it's been 12 years. Remember this guy? He's been in a fucking bunker the whole time. You're like, oh shit, like that's a good way to come back at this. Like this kid has been like hiding from death.
Hiding from death.
Like hard. And I'm like, okay, let's see where you're gonna run with this, because like, how does this go for him? And how is this going to work with this actor being aged up like this properly and like all this kind of stuff? I was like, there's a lot of potential with that concept and running with it the way that they did. If we're just doing another Final Destination and we're just going, hey, let's crank out another IP, then it's just going to be another me and Sabrina having the same discussion.
I could see it being that, though. I really could see it being that. That's why I hear this. That's why I'm like, there's a lot of reboots and remakes and stuff we talk about all the time, and this just made me fret that way. I'm like, oh, I think that's probably the route they're going.
If they try a full reboot, like if they get rid of all of the lore from the previous movies, which have consistent lore and reference each other constantly.
Yeah, they do.
I think the lore is still going to be there. It's just going to be presented in a different way.
But
I think the fourth film's the only one that has like a bad break in the lore. Outside of that, like they're all fairly consistent with all of their lore.
I think that maybe if they wanted to do a full reboot, it wouldn't be successful. This is a very millennial film franchise. This is like at the heart of millennial horror, and Gen Z horror isn't the same flavor. So I honestly don't know if Gen Z will give a shit.
Maybe that's why they said to be a little different, so it relates to people nowadays and reboot it, rework it, so it works for a new audience.
Dude, horror is horror. If you like horror, you're gonna go watch it. Like, people are gonna.
Each generation has its own flavor of horror. You have.
I get it. Like, I mean, I grew up watching Michael Myers, but that doesn't mean that I didn't like Final Destination or the original Scream or The Conjurings or you know what I mean. Like, if you like horror, you like horror. You're gonna give it a chance. I'm not saying you're gonna love it. But like if you're someone who watches horror, you're gonna watch the movie. You know what I mean?
But that's
you
why
draw
I'm
your own
saying
conclusions.
Reboot it the way that I was presented, because if you do it that way, then it's a loyalist film to the generation that it was made for, while still being a good film for all horror people, because that's what horror people will want to see. They'll want to see them treat their franchise properly, no matter what generation they're watching it. Everybody wants to see Nightmare on Elm Street treated respectfully. Everybody wants to see Friday the 13th treated respected properly. Like, it doesn't matter what generation you're from, you want to see the franchise treated respected properly. So as long as people are treating the franchises respectfully, then that's what matters. So if you're trying to retool it for a new generation, it's not going to work. If you're trying to fuck with it and not make it for the generation it was for, you're going to mess it up again.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem.
Sure that, you understand the demographic that watched it, and you want to understand the subject matter that was already presented, and you want to be able to go back and work all of that lore into the new film and still kind of give a new piece of subject matter that still brings all of those pieces together. It makes it cohesive.
Regardless of what they do with it, I'm going to buy an opening day ticket. My ass will be.
I'm going to see it. I'll check it out.
Expectations are us. Like, our generation is going to have expectations. Or, like, more your generation, I guess. But, like, the people who are seeing it for the first time and this is their first brush with it, they're not going to have that basis of comparison, unless
I just meant, in general, like, that genre of horror and that cadence of horror is not what they're marketing towards the kids these days.
These kids these days.